What's up, everybody? It's Jared with Capture the Magic, and Universal Studios is obviously doing a lot of things when it comes to the theme parks. Epic Universe just opened, Rip Ride Rocket is in the process of being torn down with a new replacement coaster coming in after it, and other things that will also be coming to the Universal Studios parks. But one of the more interesting things that they announced last year was the unveiling of this Universal Kids Resort concept, and that these parks would be tailor-made for young families with small children, and also with the idea that these would be all over the country, and also potentially, in my opinion, could come to Orlando as well. But they initially announced this opening park coming to Frisco, Texas, and then since then, they haven't had a whole lot of details in typical Universal fashion, but today they did unveil more details about the lands and what you can expect from this new park. So we're going to go through all the things they announced today, and I will give you my opinion from the lens of a parent with smaller children who are in the age range of this theme park, and if kids and younger families will enjoy this park. And before we get into the lands, what is interesting, at least I find interesting, about this Universal Kids Resort idea is Mark Woodbury, who is the CEO of the Universal Theme Parks, has stated that the whole purpose of these parks is essentially to be a feeder into the existing established Universal Studios parks, Universal Orlando, Universal Hollywood. And the idea here is to introduce the Universal brand to children when they're younger, and then when they're older, say, 8, 9, 10 years old, they then graduate into the bigger Universal Studios theme park. So instead of trying to market the theme parks to them at that age, where perhaps, Disney or other companies already have their attention, they're already aware of the Universal parks and hopefully would enjoy them from their perspective and want to go to those parks. So that is the entire premise and idea around these parks, essentially feeder parks into the bigger parks. So this is part of a much longer term strategy with what the purpose of these parks are, which I do find very interesting and very, long-term thinking. I do like the fact that a company out there is thinking long-term, because it seems like most companies out there today typically get into this very quarter-by-quarter mindset, and having a long-term strategy here, I do think is something that is a little outside the box in this day and age, it does kind of seem. But when it comes to the Universal Studios Kids Resort that is being built in Frisco, Texas, we have some more details here. As Universal had a press release about this, which we're going to read through and see what's going to be available in this park and in these lands. And will kids like it? I think is one of the main things, of course, that it's going to be a question here. So it says Universal Destinations and Experiences unveiled more details about the themed lands kids and families will experience at Universal Kids Resort. The new resort, specifically designed and developed for families with young children, will open in 2026 in Frisco, Texas. Kids and their families will be able to explore, imagine, and play while enjoying attractions in 7 lands made for kids, featuring iconic brands and characters. We have DreamWorks Shrek's Swamp, DreamWorks Puss in Boots Del Mar, Illumination's Minions vs. Minions Bello Bay Club. If you know the Minions, you kind of get that. Essentially, that's Hello Bay Club. But Jurassic World Adventure Camp, DreamWorks Trolls Fest, Nickelodeon SpongeBob SquarePants Bikini Bottom, and the Isle of Curiosity. So there are 7 lands in total in this park. Universal Kids Resort embodies the spirit of igniting thrill that drives everything we create, designed to bring our youngest guests and families together through play, creativity, and beloved characters and stories, said Molly Murphy, president of Universal Creative. It's a destination made for kids, and as a regional theme park, brings Universal's signature storytelling to families close to home. So it tells you right there, this is not a worldwide destination. She even says in there, it's a regional theme park. So you're going to see more of these pop up. They're not intended to be a place that people are going to travel from all over the world or really all over the country for, but they're going to kind of be in your backyard, as it's an easy place to get to. I'm also going to assume, even putting in the regional theme park language right there, that these are going to be cheaper. They're not going to be insanely expensive. As again, you're talking about, younger kids with younger families, and these types of theme parks are not going to be the high price ticket entries that we see for Universal Orlando and Disney World and other types of theme parks like that. It says, inspired by the spirit, the creative team brought the park to life through a child's lens. We envision this park through the unbridled creativity of kids, where infinite imagination, curiosity, and free-spirited play were core to our design philosophies, said Brian Robinson, Executive Vice President and Chief Creative Officer at Universal Creative. It produced a park that's pure joy and an absolute celebration of what it is to be a kid. With all the interactive play areas at Universal Kids Resort where kids can explore, discover, and create, we're really excited about this being a place for kids to play their way. We're even going to support play with team members who will help kids dream up imaginary worlds with sidewalk chalk or spray themselves silly with water blasters. From blowing bubbles to belly laughs, there will be fun for kids of all ages and interest, says Robinson. In addition to the park's many play areas, Universal Kids Resort features multiple sensory gardens designed to give children and families opportunities to pause, reset, and connect. These carefully crafted spaces invite guests to explore through touch, sound, and color in calming, nature-inspired settings, creating moments of balance within a day full of play. I think that's really important that you have spaces like that with kids with sensory issues and things like that. So I actually think that's a really good thing. So a little bit more about the lands. Families will enter through the Isle of Curiosity, a whimsical gateway with space for kids to explore. This will be the spot to join the one and only Gabby from DreamWorks' Gabby's Dollhouse for a special meet and greet and a possum dance party. At DreamWorks Shrek's Swamp, Shrek has transformed a swampy shack into a waterlogged paradise for some ogre-sized fun for his 3 adorable triplets. Kids and their families will have a chance to meet Shrek and Fiona, and they can even take photos in the Onion Carriage. So it doesn't sound like there is any donkey interactive meet and greet here like you have in Universal Orlando. 2 interactive play areas, Shrek's Swamp, Romp and Stomp, and Shrek's Swamp, Splash and Smash, these words are hard to say for me, will allow kids to stomp and or splash away. Families can also venture to DreamWorks Puss in Boots Del Mar, from meeting the fearless hero himself along with Mama Luna, Perito, and friends, to taking on the challenging carnival games Bearly's de Leche, maybe, I probably butchered that, and El Gato's Meow. The feline fun will be in full force. We can see here they have a water ride in the Minions area, it looks like. Some play areas. A raptor meet and greet. That one they have in Orlando. Our kids love that when they do bring that out and take it around the park. It says, next, let the games begin at Illumination's Minions vs. Minions Bello Bay Club, where the yellow Minions attempt to rein in their purple counterparts, leading to water-soaked fun. Families can take part in this action-packed competition or just relax and watch the chaos unfold. With a special Minions meet and greet and interactive play areas, there'll be plenty of surprises. So the excitement continues for kids and families as they experience awe-inspiring and thrilling moments exploring Jurassic World Adventure Camp. Whether it's meeting a newly hatched baby dinosaur or climbing up the Lookout Tower's play area to get a pterodon's view of the park, guests of all ages will have an exhilarating journey. And don't ask me why pterodon has a P there. You're not supposed to say it. I don't know. I've never understood that, but I think I got that right. It says, more fun abounds at DreamWorks Trolls Fest, where the music will be bumping and the energy will be pumping in the liveliest party in Troll Kingdom. Families can meet Poppy, Branch, and the rest of the DreamWorks Trolls gang at a glitter-filled meet and greet. 2 interactive play areas will offer good Trolls-fashioned fun, including Poppy's Playland and Trolls Critter Crawl. Then it's time for an undersea adventure at Nickelodeon's SpongeBob SquarePants Bikini Bottom, where kids and their families can have the best day ever as they get to meet SpongeBob SquarePants, Patrick Star, and Sandy Cheeks in Bikini Bottom, since F is for friends who do stuff together. There'll be oceans of nautical nonsense as kids can explore Muscle Beach for some rest and Pineapple Paradise for some playful splashing around. After all the fun, families can relax just steps away at the Universal Kids Resort Hotel. The colorfully themed on-site 300-room hotel designed with families in mind will offer a place to stay and relax just steps away from the park. The vibrant site will also serve as the entrance to the Universal Kids Resort. And we look at the lands here. They, of course, talk about a lot of the water features. They didn't really go into the rides, but we can look at the concept art here. You do have a family coaster over here in Jurassic World. Looks like you got like a Dumbo type attraction over here in SpongeBob SquarePants Bikini Bottom. You've got the water ride that's in the Minion Land. Looks like you got maybe another family coaster or something over here in Isle of Curiosity. Looks like you got that spinning hot air balloon ride in Trolls Fest. Shrek might have a ride in here in this building, but it's hard to tell from the concept art. And it looks like Puss in Boots here has those swings that go in a circle in there. So you're talking, maybe 7 attractions in here, maybe somewhere less around that, but a lot of interactive activities here. The theme park itself is only like 32 acres, so it's not a large park. I think with the parking and everything, that the land mass they have is like 97 acres, but this park is only 37 acres. I would imagine the theme park entry here is probably going to be somewhere around the $50 to $75 range, if I were to guess. Just given you're not talking about a multi-day destination. This is going to be something where you just kind of go for a day, maybe 2 days. They do have a hotel here, which this is going to be the entrance. When you walk in, it's also the hotel there. Like I said, it's a long-term strategy here to really introduce families into the Universal brand. So you also don't want a price point to be a hindrance necessarily, but you also want to price it, you know, in expectation of what you're going to get. Epic Universe is going to have a ton of high-tech attractions, lots of immersion, lots of theming there, lots of money. That park was $6 to $8 billion. The cost to build this park was somewhere around $500 million, which is not cheap. But when you're talking about a theme park, that's not that much money for a brand new theme park. So I think that's probably the price range you're looking at. Obviously, we'll find out eventually. Now, as you can imagine, there have been some reactions to this park, but I think a lot of these reactions are from people who either don't have kids or are thinking it through the lens of just an adult looking at this park. And I thought this interaction was interesting. It gives us a little bit more perspective and a little bit more information about this park. So Brer Oswald says, Universal says, oops, all playgrounds. And why are the big dogs in the industry so against making simple dark rides when they know they'd be popular? So Park Mind responds here and says, Universal wanted to make a dark ride, but the local government said no. He goes on to elaborate, it's because the local government just wants this to be a local and sprung area destination for kids and not a worldwide one. Mayor Jeff Cheney said adults, older siblings are welcome, but the target audience is ages 3 to 9 years old, and the rides will be designed for younger children. Says what this is not. Says does not target teens or adults, no late night hours, no big buildings, hotel will be 4 to 5 stories, no dark rides, no fireworks, and no tall coasters as a 40 to 50 foot maximum on the family coaster. It says what it is. It's for young children, ages 3 to 9, family-friendly hours, 10 to 6 on weekdays and 10 to 7 on weekends. Features character meet and greets, inward-thinking environment, focus on inside, not outside. Each lane will have very lush landscaping. Double landscaping berm will screen neighborhood from the theme park. Universal's goal is to put the park back into theme park, which Universal has basically made that a slogan of theirs. And that was a lot of the design concept when it came to Epic Universe with Celestial Park as well. Places provided to get out of the heat. And then, of course, the family coaster, again, is 40 to 50 foot max. So obviously, when you're looking at this, does this appeal to adults? Like, would I want to go here if I did not have small children? No, like this park would not appeal to me. But obviously, when you're designing a park for kids, it's going to have different features. And so a lot of adults are sitting here saying, well, where's the dark ride? Where's this and that? If you've ever been to a park with young kids or a theme park, a lot of times kids will have the best time just doing simple things in a theme park. I don't know how many times our kids have been to Epcot and their favorite part of the entire day was playing in the playground area or the splash pad area. I can't tell you how many times our kids have basically spent over an hour just playing in a splash pad area. And it's boring for us, but they had a blast doing it. Or just, meet and greets, colored chalk, like all sorts of stuff like that, that little kids, now our kids are getting older, they're getting much more closer, like daughters up to that 8 and 9 year old range, but kids when they're younger, very simple things can entertain them as they have very vivid imaginations and can have a lot of fun here. And so you don't have to have these highly complex, high-tech rides here. You have a very simple park that is designed for kids to just have fun. And also, I think it's very important here that they want to appeal to kids and families with kids in that age range to not have things that are going to bring in the dinks. And the dinks are dual income, no kids type of audience. That is not who this park is for. This park is for kids and their families. And so they're not even wanting to remotely appeal to them. So it's very interesting that the government here is essentially saying we do not want a worldwide destination, as this is going into a not large area. Frisco, Texas is not huge. It's a growing area, but you do have neighborhoods around it. And so I think a lot of the concessions there were hiding a lot of the elements of the park, not going to be open late, so it's not going to be a noise ordinance issue. And they don't want a ton of people coming in here like you would say in, say, Disney World or Universal Orlando or major theme park destinations. The whole idea of these parks is that they're kind of in your backyard, convenience of how far they are away from you. and just have a very simple experience here. So I think looking through the proper lens of this park is important. And I can tell you from somebody who has 2 small children, our kids are actually excited about this park. I showed them this and asked them what they thought about it, and both of them thought it looked really fun. They already wanted to go. I told them it was opening sometime next year, but they said it looks really awesome and the stuff you can do here. And so I think kids will enjoy this place. It's kind of like the Peppa Pig Park. If you've ever been there or heard about that, it's a very simple park, but we took our kids there a couple years ago and they had an absolute blast. And it's very simple rides, nothing crazy, a lot of interactive elements here, probably lots of learning opportunities. So I think in terms of who this is designed for, it's important to keep that in mind when you're looking at this. But I actually think what's interesting about this is, first off, you're going to see more of these pop up all over the country. Universal's already said they're expanding the Universal Horror Unleashed houses. They got a second one coming to Chicago, but they've also said they're going to do more of these kid resorts all over the country for the purpose we already talked about of really, getting families and kids introduced into the brand to get them to go to the other parks. But one thing I could see happening in Orlando is taking one of these kid resorts concepts and putting it into, probably near Epic Universe in Orlando, as it would function as a couple of reasons as I could see this happening. First off, they would be going after a demographic that they've never really gone after very hard in Orlando, which is this younger kid demographic that Disney has always dominated. And given that Universal is continuing to eat away market share from Disney, and now Universal does have access to IPs that do appeal to kids, they have a lot more opportunity there. And also, if you put this into Orlando, you could throw in Nintendo, you could throw in Harry Potter, and these things would have a lot of appeal for kids and younger families to go check out. So Nintendo alone has tons of things that they could implement for kids, like Baby Mario and Yoshi, lots of different IPs within Nintendo that you could definitely include into a kids park. And also from a cost standpoint, again, it's what only costs you around $500 million to build, 32 acres. You already have the infrastructure in place. They have tons of land that they can do something with around Epic Universe. They have enough room to be able to build this park, somewhere close to Epic Universe. And also from a marketing standpoint, they could then market that they have 4 theme parks and a great water park in Volcano Bay. So essentially, when you're competing with your biggest competitor who has 4 theme parks, you can actually come out here and say, we have 4 theme parks, and one of them is dedicated to young kids. So then you could appeal to the families that have younger kids and older kids, and you have something for everybody to do on a vacation. And with Universal becoming much more of a week-long destination, which they are starting to successfully, get to that goal with Epic Universe, you give people even more reason to book more days to go to Universal for an entire week, and something that appeals to everybody in a family. Plus, you wouldn't have to use up your limited space that you have in the existing parks and dedicate those to kids areas. You could have a whole park that's just made for kids. So I think for a lot of reasons, you could see this come to Orlando. I think it would be a very good idea and really a low risk idea. Again, these parks are not that expensive to build. So undoubtedly, we are going to see more of these parks. I'm very curious about this. Whenever this does open, we do plan on taking our kids here because they are in the prime age for this and checking this out. And I'm very curious to see where they'll put more of these and really how successful are they? Where do they price this? There's lots of details we don't yet know. But I think on its face, it's a very aggressive and long-term thinking strategy about how to break into new demographics here that is outside the box. So I appreciate the creativity here in doing this. And I think Universal would bring their theming and their high level that they do of detail into their theme park. So even though this is meant for kids, I do imagine it's going to be a very well done theme park for that age range. And from a parent standpoint, everything in here, I think kids will absolutely love. They can just run around here and get wet and play and interact with stuff. I think it's something that kids will absolutely love. And the rides here seem very fitting for that age range also. So from the outside looking in, I think this could be a very successful venture for Universal, and we'll see what other announcements they have regarding Universal Kids Resorts into the future. But either way, that is going to be it though for this video. So if you like this video, please like it and subscribe to the channel, as we do lots of coverage here of Universal Studios, Epic Universe, Disney World, and pop culture. And let us know in the comments, what do you think about the Universal Kids Resort concept, and could you see one coming to Orlando? And until next time, we will see you in the parks.